Hello everyone, I am teacher Daishinai. Today, let's discuss the topic of mental self-exhaustion together. Recently, more and more people have been using the term mental self-exhaustion to describe their current feelings of psychological pain and torment. This makes us wonder, can mental self-exhaustion be contagious? Why do so many people feel this way? Today, let's try to understand mental self-exhaustion through numbers phenomena and face the essence of life in a deeper way. So, let's get started. First of all, what is mental self-exhaustion? Mental self-exhaustion is often used to describe a very conflicted psychological state. For example, you may feel very dissatisfied with your current life, but you can't find a way to deal with it. You really want to take a step forward and break free from your current situation. But you don't have a clear direction. In this state of hesitation and wavering, our mindset gradually gets pulled apart and worn down. As a result, negative emotions keep arising. So, what does this look like specifically? Mental self-exhaustion may manifest as long-term persistent feelings of exhaustion, anxiety, confusion, bewilderment, repression, self-blame, depression, and many other negative emotions. Individuals experiencing mental self-exhaustion may feel the heavy burden of stress, as if they are constantly being drained and may even fall into a state of depression. So, who is likely to experience mental self-exhaustion? In fact, in today's society, more or less all of us experience some degree of mental self-exhaustion. This phenomenon can occur among all kinds of people, including students, entrepreneurs, professionals in the workplace, people in romantic relationships, and those managing family relationships. For students, mental self-exhaustion may stem from academic pressure and exam stress, as they have to deal with a large number of study tasks and requirements. At the same time, they also face uncertainties and choices about the future, and these factors can all lead to mental self-exhaustion among students. Likewise, many entrepreneurs must bear the pressure of making decisions and deal with issues like limited resources and tight deadlines. These pressures often make entrepreneurs feel mentally exhausted. Then, there are also many professionals in the workplace who have to face a fast-paced work environment, the pressure of career development, and the challenges, competition, and responsibilities at work, all of which can lead to mental self-exhaustion for every individual in the workplace. And as we just mentioned, in romantic relationships, when we are faced with emotional ups and downs, mutual expectations and pressures, as well as problems like poor communication, these can also contribute to mental self-exhaustion. Maintaining a romantic relationship requires investing a lot of psychological and emotional resources. When these resources are insufficient, it can also lead to mental self-exhaustion. Mental self-exhaustion is not limited to specific groups of people or particular situations. It is a common psychological state that can occur at any time. So how can we avoid and improve mental self-exhaustion? I believe this is a question that everyone watching this video is very curious about. First of all, we must acknowledge one thing. We cannot directly perceive the deep-rooted causes of an individual's psychological distress. Each person's inner world is unique and complex. Every living being, including you, me, and everyone else in this world, has an inner world that is unique and complex. Therefore, it is difficult for us to fully understand it. Everyone's psychological processes are different from those of others. So, because we lack specific understanding of each individual's situation, we are also unable to provide precise and personalized psychological support. The approach we use now is to distinguish between different psychological symptoms and then proceed with treatment. However, this method is very limited in its effectiveness. Friends who are watching our channel for the first time may not understand what numbers phenomena is or the role it plays in our lives. Numbers phenomena is the comprehensive information formed by every moment that each living being experiences throughout their life. It is an inevitable manifestation of human society and the natural world based on human existence. Through each person's unique attributes and expressions, numbers phenomena reveals the essence of every individual life. In other words, numbers phenomena is something that each person experiences throughout their lifetime. It presents different life information for each individual. Everyone has unique beliefs, values, mindset, worldview, cultural background, skills, emotional experiences, and physical and psychological qualities, behavioral habits, and other complex and unique individual factors. These factors together form each person's distinct numbers phenomena. Although we use terms like mental friction or psychological friction as a unified label, by observing these numbers phenomena, we can discover the specific reasons behind each individual's internal friction. They are all completely different. At the same time, their impact on current life and the possible effects they may have in the future are also entirely different. Therefore, it is impossible to cure different psychological symptoms with a single uniform approach. This is the fundamental reason why psychological disorders keep emerging but cannot be completely cured. When we are faced with psychological distress, we may receive a lot of advice. For example, you should learn to relax, develop a positive mindset, seek support and effective ways to express yourself, and maintain a healthy and reasonable lifestyle. But everyone should understand that these general methods cannot actually resolve an individual's psychological distress. For example, there was a book that became very popular some time ago called The Power of Insensitivity. So what does the power of insensitivity talk about? Essentially, it suggests that when we face the chaos of the world, overwhelming information, or very subtle and intricate details, we shouldn't be so sensitive, shouldn't be so emotional, and shouldn't pay such close attention to every little thing. We should reduce our sensitivity, become a bit more insensitive, a bit more numb, and avoid feeling the psychological distress or harm that these subtle details might bring us. These are the many efforts we humans make when facing psychological distress. We try all sorts of ways to lessen the mental or psychological troubles caused by negative thought patterns and negative emotions. But we need to understand that for someone who is extremely sensitive, every single thing they encounter is broken down into a very complex combination of information in their eyes. We cannot simply use a single sentence or a piece of advice to make a highly sensitive person let go of their sensitivity and suddenly become less perceptive, or to make them become cheerful from then on, or to help them release the emotions they cannot let go of in their hearts. Therefore, we cannot rely entirely on external advice to change your patterns of thinking and your emotional state, because the current state of every living individual is the result of a combination of countless pieces of information. It starts from their family of origin to the environment in which they grew up, and then to their current life circumstances. All of these factors determine the perspective from which they observe the world, as well as which parts of the vast amount of information in this world they will receive. Therefore, the reasons for the mental exhaustion experienced by each person are different. So, when facing the psychological difficulties encountered by each individual, the so-called mental exhaustion, we can clearly understand the fundamental causes of their psychological struggles through each individual's numbers phenomena. Next, I will use numbers phenomena and, through several videos, explain the fundamental reasons behind the psychological difficulties experienced by each individual. This is because numbers phenomena contain the combined information formed by the entire life processes of all humans. It is so vast that I cannot fully describe it with words. Even if we use several videos to explain, we can only use a few different number patterns to help everyone better understand the role of numbers phenomena in our lives. So, in this video, let's first discuss one of the number patterns that may lead to mental exhaustion. And that is the number combination represented by 28 and 82.